Hey everyone, welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a complete guided workshop on a truly fantastic amigurumi pattern. If you've ever wanted to create your own incredibly lifelike, adorable crochet companion, well, you are exactly in the right place. We're going to break down the Spotsy, the Crochet Dalmatian pattern from Loomelle Design. We'll be going step by step through the whole thing, from gathering your materials to weaving in that very last yarn end, making sure you have all the visual guidance you need to absolutely nail this project. So grab your yarn and let's get started. So meet Spotsy. He is an amigurumi plush. Now, if you're new to the term, amigurumi is just the Japanese art of crocheting little stuffed yarn creatures. When he's all finished, Spotsy stands roughly 8 inches tall and about 11 inches long from his nose to his tail. The designer rates this pattern as perfect for beginner to intermediate crocheters. So if you know a few basic stitches but really want a fun, structured project to help you level up your skills, this little Dalmatian is exactly what you need. Here's our roadmap for today. First, we'll meet Spotsy and gather our tools. Then, we'll master the basic stitches, crochet the head and body, make the legs and spots, assemble our Dalmatian, and finally, add those final finishing touches. All right, let's jump right into section 1. Meet Spotsy and tools. To get those adorable proportions just right, you're going to need a 3.5mm crochet hook. That's a US size E4. You'll also want to pick up a pair of 15mm black safety eyes and a single 25mm oval safety nose. These safety attachments are great because they have little washers that lock them securely into the fabric, making them super safe for plush toys. You'll also want to keep a blunt tapestry needle, some sharp scissors, and plenty of sewing pins on hand for when we hit the assembly stage. Now, setting yourself up for success means getting your yarn and stuffing right. This pattern calls for DK weight yarn, which is basically a light worsted weight. You're going to need about 180 grams of color A, which is your cream or off-white base, and just 40 grams of color B, which is pure black for those classic spots and ears. For the inside, you'll need roughly 120 grams of polyester fiber fill stuffing. Oh, and if you want to make Spotsy posable, you can totally grab some optional 22-gauge floral wire or pipe cleaners to build a little armature for his legs. Moving right along to section 2, master the basic stitches. Let's quickly decode our core crochet vocabulary so you feel completely confident. MC stands for magic ring, and that's how we start working in a circle or in the round. SC is your workhorse stitch, the single crochet. Inc means increase, where you literally just work 2 single crochets into the very same stitch to widen your work. But the real secret weapon here is the deck, or invisible decrease. For this one, you insert your hook only under the front loops of the next 2 stitches before finishing your single crochet. This specific technique is an absolute game changer because it prevents gaps and gives you the smoothest possible finish for amigurumi. Okay, section 3, crocheting the head and body. Building the head starts simply, just 6 single crochets in a magic ring. From there, you'll slowly increase round by round until round 8 to shape the face. Then you just maintain that width for 8 straight rounds. But please, look at step 3. Right before round 19, you absolutely must stop. This is such a common beginner pitfall. You have to insert those safety eyes between rounds 9 and 10, making sure they're 12 stitches apart, and lock in that safety nose before you stuff and close the head. If you accidentally close it up first, there is literally no way to attach them securely. Here's another major secret to getting that professional-looking amigurumi finish: stuffing density. How tightly you pack that fiber fill totally changes the final shape of the dog. As you're working through the pattern, keep in mind that the head and all 4 legs need firm stuffing. You want to pack it in so they hold their rigid shape and support the plush. But parts like the muzzle, the main body, the neck, and the tail, those only require light stuffing. The muzzle really just needs a subtle rounding, and the tail should stay slightly curved and flexible. Overstuffing those softer areas will completely warp Spotsy's proportions. Next up is section 4, making legs and spots. I just love how the designer engineered the posture on this plush. The front legs and hind legs are actually 2 totally different sub-patterns. The front legs are straight and slightly longer, coming in at about 10 centimeters. But the hind legs, they're crocheted to be slightly wider at the top, a bit shorter at 9 centimeters, and they actually have a subtle bend built right into the stitch counts. This brilliant structural difference is exactly what gives Spotsy his realistic, haunched, dog-like stance, rather than him just looking like a stiff, lifeless toy. Okay, let's talk about the spot strategy. The designer included a fantastic pro tip here that's going to save beginners a massive headache. Instead of constantly changing yarn colors right in the middle of crocheting the body, which, trust me, can totally mess up your tension and leave tangles of messy yarn trails inside, you're actually going to crochet the spots as separate flat little pieces using your black yarn. You'll make a whole assortment, 6 small, 5 medium, 3 large ovals for the back, and a couple for the head. We'll just sew these on right at the very end. All right, the moment of truth. Section 5, assembling your Dalmatian. So the pattern dictates a very strict chronological assembly order to make sure Spotsy is stable. First things first, you attach the front and hind legs to the underside of the body. Next, and this is key, you add the neck. The neck is actually a short, open cylinder that you sew onto the body first. Once that's nice and secure, you basically sandwich the neck by sewing the head right onto the top of it. After that core is stable, you just attach the tail to the rump, followed by the muzzle and those cute floppy black ears on the head. Now, the most crucial part of assembly is symmetry and placement. Never, ever just start sewing blindly. Use your sewing pins to tack everything in place first. The pattern specifically tells you to space the legs exactly 6 stitches apart, measuring center to center. When you're pinning the hind legs, angle them outward by about 10 to 15 degrees. When attaching the head, tilt it slightly forward so he looks alert and playful. And when you finally sew on those black spots, make sure you intentionally leave at least a 1 centimeter gap between them so they look scattered naturally and don't clump together. We're almost there. Section 6, final finishing touches. Grab your tapestry needle and push any remaining loose yarn tails entirely inside the body to hide them away. If you decided to use that wire armature in the legs, double-check that absolutely no sharp ends can poke through the fabric. But honestly, here is my absolute favorite detail of the whole project. Cut a tiny little oval from pink felt, or just crochet a quick one, and tuck it right inside the lower opening of the muzzle. Sew it in place, and suddenly Spotsy has this incredibly happy, open-mouth panting expression. It literally brings the whole character to life. Before you call it totally done, take a moment to smooth out any little tension inconsistencies by gently rubbing the fabric with the blunt end of your yarn needle. Give Spotsy a gentle squeeze to reshape any of the stuffing that might have shifted around while you were sewing. As the creator at Loomelle Design notes right at the end of the pattern, I hope you love making Spotsy as much as I love designing him. Honestly, it is such an incredibly satisfying project that teaches some amazing amigurumi fundamentals. And there you have it, a complete visual breakdown of exactly how to craft your very own crochet Dalmatian. Now, I guess the only question left to answer is, who are you going to be crocheting this adorable Spotsy companion for? Is it going to be a gift for a dog lover in your life? Or are you keeping this loyal pup right there on your own desk? Grab that 3.5mm hook and start stitching. Thanks for joining me on The Explainer, and I'll see you next time.